Man, they real man, not with the gay shit. You niggas sick and gross me out, transforming into a bitch. I don't want that dirty pussy, little mama. I ain't spending no a trick. Don't need you to put me on. I put myself on. Just came up on another lick. Bills paid, belly full, in lack for nothing. Nigga, do me, stay in my lane. Fuck tryna be another nigga with nothing. Brainwashed and continue lied to. Our social media censor everything real good into destruction.
Once upon a time in America, if you worked hard and managed your spending, you could support a middle-class lifestyle for your entire family with one good-paying job. Even if you only had a high school education, we can't say that things were perfect, but back then, almost everyone in the country was able to take care of themselves and their families. We worked and we played, and our seemingly endless prosperity inspired economies around the world. However, in recent decades, things have gone downhill as Americans have consumed far more wealth than they have produced, sent about 50 million good-paying jobs overseas, accumulated the largest mountain of debt in history, and repeatedly elected politicians who have shown no concern for the nation's long-term future. Today, more people than ever before rely on the government to get by, and this puts millions of Americans in a precarious situation as we stand on the brink of the next great economic recession. This is 15 signs that the American family economy is collapsing. 1. According to the Consumer Expenditure Survey, low-income households spend about 75% of their income on necessities like food, transportation, housing, and utilities, leaving only 15% for things like childcare, healthcare, and higher education. 2. A full-time minimum wage worker in the United States cannot afford a modest 2-bedroom rental in any county of the country at the current federal minimum pay of $7.25 per hour. 3. The lowest earning 10% of Americans would need to spend nearly 55% of their salary on a 1-bedroom rental, as they make an average of $11.17 per hour. Despite the fact that the median wage in the United States is $21 per hour, rents continue to increase across the country. 4. Bureau of Labor Statistics data shows that the typical American household now spends $1,784 per month, or $21,489 annually, or 35% of their income on housing. The poorest 40% of all Americans now spend more than 50% of their incomes just on food and housing. The bottom 30% of income scale makes an average of $14,000 per year. The poor spend more than $25,000 annually on necessities like housing, food, and transportation. The middle class isn't doing much better either. While their annual income exceeds $54,000 on average, they spend over $48,000 on necessities. 5. A pound of ground beef cost $2.41 in 2008, but by 2022, that price had increased to $4.60. Flour increased by 14%, milk by 13%, and eggs by 15% in the last month alone compared to the same time last year. Seafood surged by 11%. Prices of staple foods like cereal and processed vegetables have gone up by at least 10%, while those of baked goods and sweets have gone up by 9% and 8% respectively. From March 2021 until now, the cost of dairy goods went up 7%, infant food cost went up 11%, beef went up 16%, pork went up 15%, and the cost of chicken grew by 13%. 6. Due to a nationwide increase in school lunch prices over the previous 2 years, at least 1.54 million students are currently unable to pay their school lunches. According to a recent report by School Nutrition Association, 43% of schools saw an increase in the number of students who went hungry last school year. At a national level, the average meal debt per child is $170.13 per year, and the total national public school meal debt is $262 million. 7. In 2015, working families spent 7.2% of their total income on childcare. This year, that figure has risen to 9.6%, or 40% more than what the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services estimates means of defining cost effectiveness. 8. The median household income in the United States was $69,560 in 2019, $67,521 in 2020, and $51,480 in 2021. This was the first significant reduction in household income since 2011. 9. A new analysis by Oxfam America, an anti-poverty advocacy group, found that roughly 52 million workers, or about a third of the nation's labor force, earn less than $15 an hour. This equates to more than 15 million Americans making less than $31,200 in 2017. According to the study's author and senior research advisor at Oxfam America, it is a disgrace that many of the hardest working people in the United States, including those who keep our economy and society functioning, are struggling to make ends meet and are falling behind at a time when many U.S. companies are boosting record profits. 10. After adjusting for inflation, the bottom half of the U.S. income distribution has seen a fall in the past half-century, while the top 1% have reaped all the benefits from economic expansion. A study by Austin and Splinter during the past decade found that the top 1% pre-tax income increased by 157.1%, while the bottom 50%'s pre-tax income increased by only 26.1%. 11. The average American household's net worth in 1995 was $213,132.62. In 2021, that figure fell to $127,000. In contrast, the average American person owes $94,000 in debt, while the average American household owes $155,622. 12. Workers are finding it more difficult to make ends meet as costs rise. According to one survey, 2/3 of American workers currently live paycheck to paycheck, or 7 out of 10 people struggle to make ends meet each month. 13. In the United States, college students owe nearly $1.75 trillion in student loan debt, which is distributed among about 46 million borrowers. This is about $440 billion more than the total U.S. debt. According to data gathered by Investopedia, about 66% of graduates from public colleges have loans to pay off, and of those, roughly 43% are currently behind on their repayments. 14. According to a recent survey by the personal finance website Bankrate, around 51% of Americans have less than 3 months' worth of emergency funds. The survey also revealed that 25% of Americans had no savings at all, and that 56% of Americans are unable to meet an unexpected $1,000 cost with savings. 15. New statistics from Debt.com, a provider of consumer financial education, revealed that more than half of Americans with medical debt, roughly 57%, owe at least $1,000. Diagnostic tests, hospitalizations, and ER visits are the main causes of medical debt, which is up from 46% a few years ago. The survey revealed that the system is rigged against American workers, according to Allison Saso, executive director of RIP Medical Debt, a nonprofit organization that buys consumer debt from healthcare providers or aggregators for pennies on the dollar. Medical debt is specifically American and is a result of the flawed financing of our healthcare system. The majority of medical debt is owned by people who don't have the money to pay it off, Saso clarified. Contrary to what some may claim, the majority of people are not in such distressing circumstances because they choose to be. Rather, they are victims of our nation's long-term economic collapse. These are terribly difficult times for millions of us. When the next recession hits, it will cause widespread financial hardship in our nation, and since our system is just beginning to crumble, we will need a lot more understanding and compassion than we currently display. Have you ever witnessed someone going through one of the circumstances described in this list? Have you ever faced some of these difficulties yourself? The next recession will cause widespread financial hardship in our nation as we enter that period, and the numbers we just shared with you are quite alarming. But over the next few months, they are likely to get significantly worse. Please like and subscribe, and remember to share the video with your friends and family.